The phone rang while Mina Carter was balancing 3 grocery bags on her hip and fishing for her apartment keys. She almost let it go to voicemail. The screen showed a blocked number. "Great," she muttered, shifting the bags. But something made her answer anyway. "Hello?" There was a pause on the other end, breathing. Then a man's voice, low, controlled, unmistakably serious. "You said you would call when you were alone." Mina frowned. "I think you have the wrong number." Silence, not awkward silence. Calculated silence. "I don't make wrong calls," the man said. Mina huffed softly. "Well, you just did." Another pause. This one sharper. "Read me the last 2 digits of your phone number," he said. Mina hesitated. "Why would I do that?" "Because if I made a mistake," he replied evenly, "I need to know how serious it is." Something in his tone made her answer. "It's 1-6. There was a faint sound on his end, a click, like someone pulling up a contact list, or deleting something. Then, very quietly, she heard him curse in Korean. The word wasn't loud. It was worse. It was controlled anger, directed inward. He realized his associate had given him the wrong number. Mina's stomach tightened. "So you did call the wrong number?" "Yes," he said. "By 1 digit." Mina blinked. "That's it? 1 number?" "1 number is the difference between nothing and disaster," he replied. Mina scoffed. "That's dramatic. It's accurate." She adjusted the grocery bags. "Okay, you misdialed. Mystery solved." "It isn't," he said. Mina paused. "What do you mean?" "I was calling someone who is in danger," he said. "And now because I reached you instead, you may be too." Mina's pulse jumped. "That's not how phones work." "That is exactly how they work," he replied. "Calls can be traced. Patterns are noticed." Mina swallowed. "Then call them back." "I will," he said, "but understand this, you're in a situation now." Mina frowned. "Are you alone?" "Yes. Where are you right now?" Mina's instincts flared. "I'm not telling you that." Another pause. Then his voice shifted, subtle but real. "Listen to me," he said. "My associate made a mistake. That mistake put your number on a screen that should never have had it." Mina's breath caught. "What screen?" "A screen watched by people who kill loose ends." Mina went very still. "That's not funny," she whispered. "I'm not joking." A faint sound on his end. Movement, a door, an engine. "My name is Kang Jun Seo," he said. "You're going to remember it because you'll hear it again." Mina's breath caught. The name didn't register as famous, not like a celebrity, but it landed with weight, like it belonged on official documents no one else saw. "Kang," Mina repeated, buying time. "Okay, what now?" "You will do exactly what I say." His voice lowered. "First, walk away from any windows." Mina's eyes flicked to the living room, the tall glass pane that looked out onto the street below. She took 2 steps toward the hallway, out of view. "Second, do you live alone?" "Yes." "Is there a second exit?" Mina hesitated. "Fire escape, kitchen. Go there quietly." Mina moved on careful feet. The apartment was small, a 1-bedroom with warm yellow light and thrifted furniture she'd made beautiful through sheer stubbornness. The kitchen opened to a narrow balcony and a metal ladder that led down to the alley. She stopped at the counter and put a hand on the cool laminate. Her heart thudded hard enough to shake her ribs. "I'm in the kitchen." "Good." He sounded like he'd marked it on a mental map. "Do you see anyone outside?" Mina leaned just enough to peek through the blinds. The street was normal. A man walking a dog, a couple arguing softly near a parked car. A delivery scooter weaving through traffic. "No," she whispered. "No one. Not yet." Kang's voice held no panic. "Now you will pack a small bag. Passport if you have it. Cash, phone charger, anything you can't replace." Mina's laugh was thin. "I don't have a passport. Then your ID and any cash. I have $37. "You have more than you think," he said, and something about that made her stomach twist, like he already knew what was in her drawer. Mina pushed away from the counter. "How do you know?" "Move," he said quietly. She moved. In her bedroom, Mina pulled open the bottom dresser drawer, scooped up a small stack of bills she kept for emergencies, mostly 5s and 10s, and shoved them into a tote bag. She grabbed her wallet, her keys, a charger. Her hands shook, but her mind stayed strangely sharp. "What is happening?" she demanded. "Why are you calling me like you own my life?" Kang's silence lasted half a heartbeat, then very evenly, because tonight your life crossed mine. And people like them don't allow loose ends, he said. Mina stopped mid-motion. That's terrifying. It keeps you breathing. He exhaled. Third, you will not tell anyone about this call. Not your friends, not your neighbors, not the police. Mina swallowed. That's the opposite of what sane people do, because sane people don't understand what you've stumbled into. She zipped the bag and held it tight against her chest. Why should I trust you? This time his pause carried something else, like he'd considered the concept of trust and found it irrelevant. You shouldn't, he said, but you will. Mina's throat tightened with anger. You're not giving me a choice. Choices are a luxury, Kang replied. Tonight, you're on survival. A faint click sounded in her ear, like someone tapping a headset. Then Kang's voice sharpened, not louder, but suddenly focused in a new direction. They've found you. Mina's pulse spiked. What, they? Panic filled Mina's chest. It's been 10 minutes. How is that even possible? Stay inside, he ordered. Do not go to the fire escape yet. Mina froze, every muscle tensing. They're moving faster than I expected. Look at your front door. His voice was low now, controlled, dangerous. Mina stared at the door across the short hallway. She heard nothing. Then, very faintly, a sound. Metal against metal. A key scraping. Mina's breath stopped. Yes, Kang said. Now listen carefully. They're going to try to take you. But I'm getting you out. I'm calling 911. No. The word landed like a slap. The police can't save you from this. Mina's stomach lurched. Go to your kitchen, Kang said. Take the fire escape, go down, stay in the alley, against the building, and wait. Mina ran, silent as she could, bag bumping her hip. She reached the kitchen balcony door and fumbled with the latch. Behind her, from the front door, a soft pop. The deadbolt didn't sound like that when she turned it. Mina's eyes widened. Now, Kang said, voice like steel. She shoved the balcony door open, stepped out into the January air, and grabbed the cold metal railing. The alley below was dark and narrow, lit by one flickering security light. Trash cans lined the brick wall. A cat stared at her from the far end, eyes bright. Mina swung one leg over the railing and felt for the ladder. The front door opened. Mina didn't look back. She descended the ladder too fast, hands burning from the cold metal. The tote bag slid down her shoulder. Her boot slipped once, and she nearly screamed, catching herself on instinct. She landed in the alley with a hard thud that shot pain up her ankle. Then she flattened herself against the wall, heart racing, and held the phone to her ear. Kang, she whispered, breathless. I'm down. I know, he said. And again, that impossible sense that he'd already seen her. Mina craned her neck and peered up. Her kitchen light glowed softly through the window. A shadow moved inside. Mina bit her knuckle to keep from making a sound. Don't run yet, Kang murmured. They're checking the apartment. Mina's hands shook so badly the phone rattled. How do you know all this? His voice softened a fraction, and it was worse, because it sounded human, because I've been hunted before. Mina's throat tightened. What does that mean? Another shadow moved, closer to the kitchen window. Someone trying to get in, she mouthed. Mina squeezed her eyes shut. Kang, she whispered, please. On the other end, Kang spoke to someone, Korean, quick and sharp. She caught only a few words. One of them sounded like now. Then his voice returned to her, steady again. When I say run, you run to the street. Don't look back. Don't stop for anyone. Mina's breath came in shallow bursts. Where am I going? To a car you will recognize, he said. Black Genesis. Hazard lights on. Mina's brows pulled together. How will I run? Kang said. Mina launched forward. She sprinted down the alley, ankle protesting, lungs burning. She reached the end and turned the corner into the street, and saw it. A black Genesis idled at the curb, hazard lights blinking like a heartbeat. The windows were tinted dark. Mina's fear spiked again, because this could still be a trap, a different trap, a better one. But behind her, from the alley mouth, someone shouted. Mina's body moved before her mind could debate. She ran to the car. The back door swung open. A man inside, broad shoulders, dark suit, earpiece, reached out and grabbed her wrist, yanking her in with controlled force. Mina stumbled into leather seats and the smell of expensive cologne and cold air. The door slammed. The car surged forward. Mina screamed and spun, trying to crawl away. Easy. The man's voice was deep, accented. Not Kang. Mina looked at him. Korean, late 30s, hard eyes. He held up both hands, palms open. You're safe. I don't know you, Mina snapped. No, he agreed. But you know him. Her phone buzzed against her palm. Kang's voice came through again, quieter now, as if he'd switched lines. Mina. She swallowed hard. This is insane. Yes, he said again. But you're alive. Mina pressed her forehead against the cool window, watching her building disappear behind them. What did I just escape? A message, Kang replied. A message? They want me to know they can reach me, he said. They want chaos. Mina's head snapped up. Why me? Why my number? Kang was silent long enough that she could hear the engine, the tires, the soft click of the turn signal. Then he said, because you and she share similar numbers. Mina stared. That's it? That's the reason my life just... It's enough, Kang said. In my world, coincidence is a weapon. The man in the seat across from her, guard, she guessed, watched her like a hawk. Mina hated it. She hated being observed, evaluated. Where are you? Mina demanded into the phone. In a car, Kang said. I mean, are you coming? His voice dipped. I'm already moving toward you. Mina scoffed, shaky. You talk like you're everywhere. I have to be, he said simply. Mina swallowed the anger that rose like bile. What happens now? You disappear for a while, Kang replied. Until I know who sent them and why. Mina's stomach clenched. I can't disappear. I have a job. You have a life, he corrected. Protect it. I'm not part of this, she snapped. Kang's voice sharpened, just a fraction. You are now. Mina stared at the seat across from her, at the guard's calm, impassive face. She could feel tears threatening. She wasn't weak, but because her body had been running on adrenaline and was now demanding payment. Mina inhaled slowly. What's your plan? First you breathe, Kang said. Second, you listen. Mina swallowed. Okay. You will stay somewhere safe tonight, he said. A place I control. In the morning I will speak to you in person. Mina's eyes widened. No, absolutely not. Kang's voice did something strange then, softened but not weak. Mina, you don't have the information to refuse. I have plenty of information to refuse, she shot back. I have survival instincts, and they're screaming. Good, Kang said, almost like approval. Keep them, they'll serve you. Mina's hands clenched. I'm not going to some random safe house. You already are, Kang replied. Silence crashed between them. Mina stared at her phone like it had betrayed her. I hate you, she whispered. I know, Kang said, and she could hear, barely, something like a smile. 2 hours later. The safe place was not what Mina expected. It wasn't a dark warehouse with armed men and flickering lights. It wasn't a grimy basement. It wasn't even a tacky luxury penthouse like the ones in dramas. It was a quiet, modern guest suite attached to a private residence. Clean lines, soft lighting, neutral decor. A throw blanket folded neatly at the end of the bed. A small bathroom stocked with unopened toiletries like a hotel. The guard, who had introduced himself as Minho, stood by the door as Mina looked around like she was inspecting a crime scene. This is ridiculous, Mina muttered. Minho's expression didn't change. You are safe here. That's what kidnappers say. I'm not kidnapping you, he replied, tone flat. I'm keeping you alive. Same thing, Mina said, then huffed and dropped her tote bag on the bed. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. She looked down at them, embarrassed by her own body. Minho glanced at her hands, then away again like he was giving her privacy. Water? Mina hesitated. Yes. Minho left without another word. Mina stood in the center of the room, trying to regain control. Her phone was still in her hand, but Kang had ended the call after telling her, Sleep, I'll come when it's quiet. She didn't trust him, but she trusted the reality that someone had been inside her apartment with her door unlocked. Her knees went weak. She sat on the edge of the bed and pressed her palms to her eyes. A sob tried to rise. She swallowed it down. Mina Carter didn't crumble in front of strangers. She breathed. In, out, in. The door opened again. Minho returned with a tray. Water, tea, a small bowl of rice porridge, and sliced fruit like this was a wellness retreat. Mina stared. You guys do room service too? Minho's mouth twitched, barely. Eat. Mina took the water with trembling fingers and drank. The cold liquid grounded her. Where is Kang? She asked. Minho's gaze sharpened slightly. Working. Always? Mina's tone was bitter. Minho didn't respond. Mina looked down at the tray. The porridge smelled warm and comforting, and that made her unexpectedly angry. "I don't want comfort," she muttered. Minho finally spoke, voice lower. "You want control. But you lost it the moment you answered." Mina's eyes snapped up. "I didn't ask for this." Minho met her stare. "No. But you are alive. Many aren't." Mina swallowed hard, then forced her gaze down. She took a few bites of porridge because her body needed it, even if her pride didn't. After Minho left, Mina locked the door and paced like a trapped animal. She didn't sleep. Not until dawn turned the window pale gray and exhaustion pinned her down. The next morning, a soft knock woke her. Mina sat up, hair wild, throat dry. She'd slept maybe an hour. The knock came again, polite, controlled. Minho's voice, "He's here." Mina's heart slammed. She swung her legs off the bed, smoothing her sweatshirt like it mattered. She opened the door a crack. Minho stood there, expression unreadable. He stepped aside. And Mina saw him. Kang Jun-seo wasn't what her brain had pictured last night. He wasn't older, not some graying villain with cold eyes and scars. He was young enough to be dangerous in a different way. Kang stepped forward into the doorway, and the air seemed to shift with him. Not because he was loud, because he was certain. "I didn't bring you here to make you okay," he said calmly. "I brought you here to keep you alive." Mina's eyes narrowed. "And what, you'll let me go when you're done using me?" Kang's gaze lowered to her crossed arms, like he noticed the defensive posture, then his eyes returned to hers. "You're not useful," he said simply. Mina blinked. "Excuse me? You don't know anything." His voice stayed even, almost clinical. "You can't identify them. You didn't hear names. You didn't see faces. If this was about using you, I would have left you in your apartment." Mina's throat tightened. The truth of that hit hard. "So why bother?" she asked, quieter now. Kang held her gaze. "Because they came to your door. That makes you my responsibility." Mina scoffed. "I'm not your responsibility." Kang's eyes darkened slightly. "Last night you were collateral. Today you are an obligation." Mina stared at him. "Do you hear yourself?" "Yes," Kang said. "Always." His gaze shifted briefly to Minho, who stood down the hall like a statue. Kang spoke in Korean, quick and controlled. Minho nodded and left. Now Mina was alone with him. That somehow was worse. Kang stepped into the room and closed the door behind him, not locking it, not trapping her, but claiming the space with quiet inevitability. Mina's breath caught. She didn't want to be affected by him. She didn't want to notice the way his presence felt like gravity. She hated that her nervous system didn't know the difference between fear and attraction. "Sit," Kang said. Mina lifted her chin. "No." Kang studied her for a moment, then nodded once like he respected the defiance. "Fine," he said. "Then listen." Mina stayed standing, arms crossed tighter. Kang's voice dropped slightly. "The woman who was supposed to call me is dead." Mina's stomach lurched. "Oh my God." Early to mid minus 30 seconds. Tall, broad-shouldered without being bulky. His suit was dark charcoal, perfectly tailored, the kind of clean luxury that didn't beg for attention. His hair was black, styled neatly back from his forehead. It wasn't flashy or messy. His face was sharp in a way that looked like discipline, rather than genetics alone. Straight nose, defined jaw, lips that held tension like they'd been taught not to soften. And his eyes, dark, steady, unreadable. He looked at Mina like he'd already studied her and decided she was worth the trouble. Mina's spine stiffened. "So you're real." A flicker of something passed through his expression. It wasn't amusement, something close to it, but colder. "I told you," Kang said. Mina crossed her arms. "You also told me I had no choice, which I'm still not okay with." "She was a messenger," he continued. "A minor one. I tried to reach her, dialed the wrong number. You answered." Mina swallowed. "And the people who came to my apartment, they were there because of you." "Yes," Kang said. He didn't flinch from it. Mina's anger flared. "So you ruined my life." Kang's gaze held hers. "I saved it." Mina's eyes stung. She refused to cry. "What do you want from me?" she demanded. "An apology? A thank you? Because you're not getting either." Kang exhaled slowly, then did something unexpected. "I'm sorry," Kang said, voice quiet and controlled, "that you were pulled in." Mina froze. The apology didn't soften him. It didn't make him safe, but it made him real. Mina's throat tightened. "Okay." Kang's eyes lifted. "Now the rules." Mina's jaw clenched again. Of course. Kang's tone stayed calm. Rule 1, for the next 72 hours you stay under my protection. No, Mina snapped instantly. Kang didn't react. Yes. Mina stepped forward, eyes blazing. You don't get to... Kang's voice dropped lower, and something in it sharpened like a blade sliding free. Mina, they already broke into your home. Mina swallowed hard. Kang continued, quieter now. You want to go back and pretend this is over. It isn't. They will return, because now they know you exist. Mina's voice came out strained. Why would they care about me? Kang's gaze didn't waver. Because you're a loose end. Mina's hands shook again. She hated that he was right. What's rule 2? She asked, voice smaller than she wanted. Kang's expression softened slightly. It wasn't warm but less sharp. Rule 2, you don't leave without telling Minho. Like a prisoner, Mina muttered. Like a person worth guarding, Kang corrected. Mina looked away, jaw tight. Kang stepped closer, not too close, but enough that she could smell him. Clean, subtle, expensive. It wasn't the overpowering scent of someone trying to seduce, but the quiet signature of someone who didn't need to. Rule 3, Kang said, voice lower. If you feel something is wrong, you tell me immediately. Mina barked a humorless laugh. Everything is wrong. Kang's gaze flicked to her mouth, then back to her eyes like he'd caught the sound of her laughter, and it had done something to him. He said, quieter. I mean in your body. Fear. Instinct. If you feel it, don't ignore it. Mina stared. Why would you care? Kang's jaw tightened in a way that looked almost restrained. I don't like unnecessary chaos, he said. Mina's lips parted. She didn't believe that was the whole truth. But he wasn't a man who offered truth freely. Okay, Mina said. 72 hours, then I'm gone. Kang nodded once. We'll see. Mina's eyes narrowed. That's not an answer. It's the only honest one, Kang replied, the first day. Mina expected a locked room, guards, weapons. Instead, she found herself in a controlled quiet. The residence was larger than it looked from the outside. It wasn't flashy, but private, secured, efficient. Cameras hidden in corners, locks that clicked softly, men who moved like they'd been trained to never waste motion. And Kang, he was there, and he wasn't. He passed through hallways, spoke in Korean to his men, vanished into rooms Mina wasn't allowed to enter. He checked on her, twice, once to make sure she ate, once to make sure she slept. He didn't flirt, he didn't threaten, he didn't pretend to be a hero. And that made her more unsettled than if he'd acted like a villain. By late afternoon, Mina sat in a small library nook, staring at a book she hadn't read. Minho stood near the doorway, ever present. Mina finally snapped. Do you ever blink? Minho's gaze didn't shift. Yes. Do you ever smile? No. Do you ever... Mina. Kang's voice cut in smoothly. Mina turned. Kang stood in the doorway, jacket off, sleeves rolled to his forearms. A watch gleamed at his wrist. His expression was unreadable, but his eyes looked tired. Mina's anger paused, not because she forgave him, but because she recognized exhaustion in him. What? She demanded, softer than before. Kang stepped into the room. We need to talk. Mina's spine stiffened. About what? Kang's gaze flicked to Minho. One word in Korean. Minho left, closing the door behind him. Mina's pulse jumped. You send your guard away and think I'm going to relax? Kang's eyes held hers. If I wanted to hurt you, Mina, I wouldn't need privacy. Mina hated that he was right. Kang moved toward the window, not looking out, just using the space like he needed distance to say something honest. They weren't there just to scare me, Kang said quietly. Mina's throat tightened. Then why? Kang turned, eyes dark. Because someone is trying to start a war. Mina swallowed. Between who? Kang's jaw tightened. Between me and the men who used to control me. Mina stared. Used to control you? Kang's gaze sharpened, then softened slightly as if he'd decided something. You asked last night why I know how to survive, he said. This is the answer. Mina didn't speak. Kang's voice stayed calm. When I was 19, I was taken. Mina's breath caught. Taken? Kang didn't flinch from the word. By men who wanted my father's seat. They couldn't kill him directly, so they broke me instead. Mina's chest tightened painfully. He continued, voice controlled but heavier now. They kept me for 8 months. Mina's hand rose to her mouth. Oh my God. Kang's eyes held hers. They taught me obedience. They taught me fear. They thought if they returned, me damaged enough, my father would step down. Mina felt her own body react. Sickness, rage, sorrow. Kang's voice lowered. They underestimated two things, Mina whispered. What? My father's cruelty, Kang said quietly. And my patience. Mina stared, trembling. Kang's gaze didn't waver. He didn't step down. He retaliated. He burned their businesses, their homes, their families. Mina's stomach turned. And you? She asked, voice barely there. Kang's jaw clenched. I watched. I learned. I became what I needed to be so no one could take me again. Mina's eyes stung. She blinked hard. Kang's voice softened a fraction. The men who did it are still alive. Mina whispered, why? Because killing them would be easy, Kang said, and easy doesn't end wars. It starts them. Mina's throat tightened. So they're back. Kang's eyes darkened. They never left. They've been waiting for the right moment. Mina swallowed, forcing herself to breathe, and now they used a wrong number to pull me into it. Kang's gaze shifted. Something like regret flickered, gone in an instant. Yes, Mina exhaled shakily. That's why you're like this. Kang's eyes held hers. Yes. Mina hugged herself tighter, suddenly cold. Why tell me? Kang's answer came after a pause. Because I need you to understand something. Mina's voice trembled. What? Kang took one step closer. Slow, deliberate, like he was giving her space to run if she wanted. When you look at me, he said quietly, don't imagine romance. Don't imagine rescue. Mina's breath caught. Imagine consequence, Kang continued, because anyone near me pays a price. Mina's voice came out raw. Then let me go. Kang's eyes softened again, just slightly. Not yet. Mina's throat tightened, anger and fear mixing. You can't keep doing this to people. Kang's gaze sharpened, then dropped, like he'd accepted the accusation. I know, he said quietly. Mina stared at him, and for the first time she saw the weight he carried, not as an excuse, not as a tragic hero, as a man who'd built himself into a weapon because he'd had no other choice. Mina whispered, do you ever sleep? Kang's mouth twitched faintly. Sometimes. Do you ever feel safe? His eyes met hers. No. Mina's chest ached. She hated this situation, and she couldn't stop understanding him. On night 2, it happened fast. Mina had finally eaten dinner, quietly, reluctantly, when the lights flickered. Just once. Then steady again. Mina's body went cold. Her instincts screamed. She stood so abruptly the chair scraped the floor. Minho appeared in the doorway instantly. Stay behind me. Mina's breath hitched. What's happening? Minho didn't answer. He pressed a finger to his earpiece, eyes sharpening. Then the house alarm, silent to Mina's ears, must have triggered something because men moved in the hallway like shadows. Mina's pulse hammered. Minho, move, Minho ordered. He guided her down a corridor into a smaller room that looked like a study. He opened a hidden panel in the wall, an elevator. Mina's eyes widened. You have a secret elevator? Minho didn't respond. He pushed her inside. The doors slid shut. Mina's stomach dropped as the elevator descended. She clutched her tote bag, knuckles white. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. Mina yanked it out. Kang's number, she answered with shaking fingers. Kang! His voice came through, sharp and controlled. Mina, are you with Minho? Yes. What's happening? They're testing my perimeter, Kang said. They want to see how fast I respond. Mina's chest tightened. Are they inside? Not yet, he said. But they will be. Mina's breath trembled. Where are you? In the city, Kang replied. I'm coming. Mina's voice cracked. I don't want to die because of you. Kang's tone dropped lower. You won't. You can't promise. I can. Kang cut in. Because I will burn the world before I let them touch you. Mina froze. The words were terrifying and something else that made her chest ache. The elevator doors slid open. A secure underground room, concrete walls, bright lights, weapons racks, monitors showing camera feeds. Minho guided Mina to a corner. Sit. Mina sat, trembling, staring at the screens. On one of them, she saw the front gate. A black SUV idled outside, lights off. Then, like shadows, men moved toward it. Mina's breath hitched. Oh my God. Kang's voice stayed steady in her ear. Keep your eyes on Minho. Do what he says. Mina swallowed hard. Kang. Why are you calling me? Shouldn't you be? I'm calling you because you're scared, Kang said quietly. And because I know what that feels like. Mina's eyes stung. On the monitor, the SUV door opened. A figure stepped out. Even through grainy footage, Mina could feel the presence. Calm, confident, predatory. The figure lifted something, like a phone, toward the camera, then, slowly, waved. Mina's blood turned to ice. "They're waving," Mina whispered. Kang's voice sharpened. "Show me." Mina switched her phone to a video call. She turned it so the camera could capture the monitor. Kang went quiet. Then he spoke, voice low. "That's him." Mina's throat tightened. "Who?" The one who kept me," Kang said. Mina's breath caught painfully. On the screen, the man tilted his head, like he knew Kang was watching through the lens. Then he turned and walked back into the SUV. The vehicle rolled away slowly, like this had been a polite visit. Mina's hands shook. "They're leaving?" "For now," Kang said. "They wanted you to see." Mina's stomach turned. "Why?" Kang's voice dropped heavy. "Because they want you to fear me as much as you fear them." Mina swallowed, eyes burning. "Is it working?" Kang's silence lasted a beat. Then, quietly, "I don't know." Mina's chest ached. "Kang." His voice softened slightly. "I'm almost there." Mina's throat tightened. "I don't want to be alone in this." "You won't be," Kang said. When Kang finally arrived, it wasn't dramatic, just the quiet sound of the elevator doors opening again. Mina looked up. Kang stepped inside like he belonged underground, like darkness was his natural environment. His hair was slightly mussed now, his tie loosened, his eyes were colder than before. But when he saw Mina, something changed. Just a subtle shift, like his focus narrowed to one thing. He crossed the room in 3 strides and stopped in front of her. Mina stood slowly, heart pounding. Kang looked her over, face, hands, posture, like he was checking for injury. "You're okay," he said, voice quiet. Mina swallowed hard. "They waved at me." Kang's jaw tightened. "I know." Mina's voice trembled. "That man. He's coming." Kang's eyes darkened. "Yes." Mina's hand shook. "And you told me not to imagine romance." Kang's gaze flicked to her mouth again, then back to her eyes. "Correct." Mina's throat tightened. "But you said you'd burn the world before they touched me." Kang's eyes held hers. "Also correct." Mina inhaled shakily. "Those don't go together." Kang leaned slightly closer, just enough that she could feel his warmth. "They do in my world," he murmured. "Because romance is soft, protection is not." Mina's breath caught. For a moment the room felt too small, too quiet. Kang's gaze stayed on hers. "Are you afraid of me, Mina?" Mina's throat tightened painfully. She wanted to say yes. She wanted to say no. Instead, the truth slipped out. "I'm afraid of what happens when I'm not." Kang's eyes darkened in a way that made her pulse spike. He straightened, stepping back as if he'd caught himself. "Good answer," he said quietly, but there was something strained in it. Mina's chest heaved. "What happens now?" Kang turned to the monitors. His voice shifted back into command. "Now, we end this." Mina swallowed. "How?" Kang's eyes narrowed. "They want war?" "Fine." Mina's stomach clenched. "You said war is what happens when you kill them." Kang glanced back at her, expression unreadable. "Then we don't kill them." Mina blinked. "What?" Kang's voice was cold now. "We expose them." Mina stared. "Expose Mafia men?" Kang's mouth twitched faintly, humorless. "Even criminals need legitimacy. Money moves through banks, through businesses, through politicians." Mina's mind raced. "And you have proof?" Kang's eyes sharpened. "I have pieces. I need the rest." Mina frowned. "What does that have to do with me?" Kang's gaze held hers. "Because you're not useful to me as bait." Mina's stomach dropped. "But you, useful because you're clean," Kang said. "You're invisible to them. An ordinary woman. A citizen." Mina stared. "I'm not doing..." Kang's voice softened a fraction. "You have a job, Mina. What do you do?" Mina hesitated, suspicious. "I work in compliance." Kang's eyes sharpened like a blade finally finding its target. "Compliance." Mina's breath caught. "Wait." Kang's voice stayed calm. "You audit companies." "I'm a mid-level analyst," Mina snapped, defensive. "I'm not..." "You know how to follow paper trails," Kang cut in. "You know how to see what doesn't belong." Mina's mind raced. "How do you know that?" Kang's gaze didn't waver. "I told you, I had someone check." Mina's anger flared. "You invaded my..." "I protected you," Kang said, voice low. "And now I'm asking you to protect yourself." Mina's chest heaved. "What do you want me to do?" Kang stepped closer again, and this time the air shifted with purpose. "There is a company," he said. A shell. It moves money for them. I need someone who can look at it and tell me where it bleeds. Mina stared. Money's being moved in patterns that don't match charitable disbursement. Kang's jaw clenched. They're laundering through charity. Mina's voice trembled with anger. They're stealing from people who need help. That's illegal. Kang's eyes held hers. So is breaking into your apartment. Mina's throat tightened. Kang's voice lowered. If we don't end this, they'll keep coming. Not only for you. For anyone near you. Friends, co-workers. Mina's stomach clenched with fear. Kang softened again, barely. I'm not asking you to become like me, Mina whispered. Then what are you asking? Kang's eyes held hers, steady and dark. I'm asking you to be who you already are, only braver. Mina's hands trembled. And if I refuse? Kang's gaze didn't change. Then I will still protect you. Mina blinked. Why? Kang's jaw tightened and, for the first time, his control cracked just enough to show something raw underneath. Because you didn't deserve this, he said quietly. Mina's chest ached. She stared at him for a long moment, then whispered, Okay. Kang's eyes narrowed slightly. Okay? Mina swallowed hard. Okay, I'll look. Kang exhaled slowly, like he'd been holding tension for days. Good. For the next day, Mina sat in a secure room with a laptop that wasn't connected to the internet, only loaded with documents Kang's team had pulled. Statements, invoices, corporate filings. Mina's mind clicked into work mode like a survival mechanism. Numbers didn't scare her the way men with guns did. Kang came in and out, watching her quietly, never hovering, never interrupting. But Mina always felt him, like a shadow with a heartbeat. At one point, Mina rubbed her temples, exhausted. Kang set a cup of tea beside her. Mina glanced up. Are you being nice to me? Kang's eyes held hers. I'm being practical, Mina huffed. Right. But she drank the tea anyway. Hours passed, then Mina froze. Her finger hovered over a line item. She looked up slowly. Kang. Kang was instantly alert. What? Mina's voice went tight. This company, this shell, it's routing payments through a non-profit. Kang's eyes narrowed. A non-profit? Mina nodded, disgust rising. A community foundation, donations, grants. But Kang's eyes darkened, and something colder than anger moved through him. Where? He asked. Mina swallowed. Here. She slid the screen toward him. Kang stared at the numbers, then his gaze lifted to Mina, sharp, intense, almost impressed. You're right, he murmured. Mina's throat tightened. What happens if we expose this? Kang's voice was quiet, lethal. Then the government does what I can't. Mina swallowed. They get arrested. Kang's gaze didn't waver. They get dismantled. Mina's chest heaved. And me? Kang's jaw tightened. Then you go home. Mina stared. Just like that? Kang's eyes held hers. Yes. Mina's chest tightened painfully. Part of her wanted that more than anything. Another part of her, traitorous, aching, wondered what it meant that she'd started to feel safer with him nearby. Mina forced herself to ask, voice quiet. And you? Kang's eyes darkened. I keep living with what I am. Mina's throat tightened. She whispered, you shouldn't have to. Kang's expression softened slightly, but his voice stayed calm. I do. Kang's team moved fast. Not with bullets, with documents. Within hours, anonymous packages were delivered to the right agencies, the right journalists, the right enemies of his enemies. Mina didn't understand half of the strategy, only that Kang's mind worked like a chessboard she couldn't see. That night, Kang stood with Mina near the upstairs window, watching the quiet street beyond the property. Mina hugged her arms around herself. So, it's done? Kang's gaze stayed outward. It's moving. Mina swallowed. And the man who waved. Kang's jaw tightened. He will run. Mina's voice trembled. Will he come back for you? Kang's eyes darkened. Yes. Mina looked at him. Then why are you letting me go? Kang finally turned toward her. His eyes were steady, dark, exhausted. Because keeping you near me is selfish, Kang said quietly. Mina's chest tightened. Maybe I don't care. Kang's gaze sharpened. You should. Mina swallowed hard. Kang. He stepped closer, just a fraction, enough that Mina's breath caught. His voice dropped. If you stay, you become a target forever, Mina whispered. And if I leave? Kang's jaw tightened. Then you have a chance at a normal life. Mina's eyes stung. Do you want me to go? Kang's gaze held hers, and for a moment the mask of control slipped again. Yes, he said quietly, and no. Mina's breath trembled. Kang's hand lifted slowly, paused near her cheek, as if he was asking permission without words. Mina didn't move away. His fingertips brushed her cheek, warm against her cold skin, so gentle it hurt. Mina's throat tightened. You told me not to imagine romance. Kang's eyes lowered to her mouth, then returned to her eyes. I said don't imagine rescue. Mina whispered, What is this then? Kang's voice was quiet, rougher now. A mistake. Mina's breath caught. Kang's thumb brushed her cheek once more, then he dropped his hand like it burned. Go home, Mina, he said, voice controlled again. Before I become something you can't walk away from. Mina's chest ached so hard she felt dizzy. She whispered, You're already something I can't forget. Kang's jaw tightened. For a moment he looked like he might say something that would change everything. Instead, he stepped back. Minho will drive you. Mina swallowed hard, blinking back tears. And if they come for me again? Kang's eyes locked onto hers. They won't. You can't promise. I can, he said, voice low. Because if they touch you again, I won't be strategic. Mina's breath trembled. She nodded slowly. Okay. 3 days later. Mina returned to her apartment. The door had been repaired, new locks installed, a security system she didn't remember buying. Her landlord said, confused, that a company had paid for it. Mina stood in the doorway, staring at the life she'd almost lost. She unpacked her groceries, still on the floor where she'd dropped them days ago. Some were spoiled now, oranges bruised. She cleaned in silence. At night, she lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. Her phone sat on the nightstand like a loaded weapon. No calls, no messages. And yet, she knew he was still out there. And then, late that night, her phone buzzed. A single message from an unknown number. You should feel safe now? Mina's throat tightened. She typed back, yes. Do you? 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. A minute later, a new message came through, safer than before. Mina stared at the screen until her eyes burned. Then she typed, I still hate you a little. This time the reply came fast. Good. It means you're still yourself. Mina swallowed hard, heart aching. She typed one last message. Don't get taken again. 1 week later, the news broke. A community foundation executive arrested. A corporate shell exposed. Links to organized crime. Mina watched the report with shaking hands. They didn't say Kang's name, they never would. But Mina knew. A pause. Then, I won't. Mina stared at it, then set the phone down gently like it was fragile. Outside, the city hummed on. Inside, Mina finally exhaled, slowly, shakily, as if she'd been holding her breath since the moment she'd said, home, please. And somewhere in that same city, a man who never felt safe read her message, and, just for a second, allowed himself to feel something dangerously close to hope. 2 weeks of silence that wasn't really silence. Mina went back to work, back to grocery runs, back to pretending her life had gone back to normal, but it hadn't. Every time her phone buzzed, her pulse jumped. Every unfamiliar number made her stomach tighten. Kang had kept his word. No contact. Not because he didn't care. Because he did. It was almost 10 at night when someone knocked on her door. The knock wasn't loud. Just deliberate. Mina froze. Her first instinct was fear. Her second was hope. She checked the peephole, and her breath left her body. Kang stood on the other side of her door. She opened it. I told you I would stay away, he said. You did, Mina replied. But you're here. Because the threat has been eliminated, Kang said, and because I wanted to see you. She studied his face. You're sure? I wouldn't be here if I wasn't sure. That alone was reassurance. Come in, she said. He stepped inside. The door closed behind him. The space felt smaller. You let me go to protect me, Mina said. Yes. And now? Kang held her gaze. Now I'm giving you the choice I didn't give you before. Her heart sped up. She stepped closer, inches from him. Kang's eyes dropped to her lips. That was all it took. Mina reached for him first. This time, Kang didn't hold back. His hand came to her waist, firm and sure, pulling her in as his mouth met hers. The kiss was deep, controlled heat, two people choosing the same thing at the same time. When they broke apart, his forehead rested lightly against hers. "I won't pretend my world is simple," Kang said. "I don't need simple," Mina replied. "I need honest." His mouth curved. It wasn't quite a smile. "Then this is honest." He kissed her again, like a decision made. Sometimes the call you answer changes everything. If this story pulled you in, stay with Neon Obsidian, where dangerous connections, impossible choices, and slow burn power romances live. Subscribe, and don't miss the next story.